Welcome to this week's coaching chat opportunity here. My name's Rich Allen, your business coach. Thanks for joining me today. Glad you could join me today. I want to give you just an idea or a tip that you can use this week in your business. I hope your week's off to a great start, and I just want to give you something additional to think about that you might be able to use in your business this week. If you've got a comment or a question, you can type it into the chat box, and I'll be glad to answer it here today while we're online, or if you don't get to it and watch the recording, you can always send me an email and I'll follow up with you and get right back to you. So anyway, I hope your week started off good. My week started off with a flurry. As you can see behind me, I'm getting ready for a big planning workshop that we're doing this week. In fact, on Wednesday, we've got 26 businesses here in the local area who are coming together to spend a day to focus on how they're going to grow their business in 2013. They've carved out 8 hours of their time. It's a hard thing to do, but they've set aside a whole day to focus on the planning that they need to do to be prepared for next year, to outperform their competition, to grow their business like never before. And my tip for you today is focused exactly on that. We're here at the end of October. We've got 2 months left in the year. The year is virtually in the books. There's not a lot you can do to influence what's going to happen over these next 2 months as things wind down towards the end of the year and we get into the holiday season. But now is the time for you to focus on what you need to do to make your business a little bit better next year. So it's a perfect time to set that aside. If you're coming to the planning workshop, excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. If you aren't, then the assignment is on you to set aside time in your schedule. Block out as much as a day. You know, I talk to people and tell them that every week you ought to spend an hour to plan the week out. Every day at the end of the day, you ought to spend 15 minutes to plan your next day. Every month you ought to spend a little bit of time, a couple hours or so, to think ahead to the next month. Same thing at the quarter. Maybe spend 2-3 hours looking ahead to your next quarter. But every year, you need to set aside at least a day where you can get away from the noise, get away from the day-to-day activities, and ask some critical, probing questions about you, about your team, about your business, about your strategy, about understanding your customers and your prospects, and about understanding how you stack up against your major competition. That's not going to happen in 10 or 15 minute increments as you're trying to deal with day-to-day issues every day. You've got to set yourself aside. You've got to get out of your office. You've got to go to a quiet spot, and you've got to ask some deeply probing questions. And so if you don't have that booked on your calendar yet for this next month or so, now's the time to do it. Because you need time once you get off and get your thoughts together and come up with a plan, then you need time to bring that plan back into your business, work with your team, make assignments, and get people fired up and motivated about it so that they can actually go into the next year on pace, knowing what they've got to do, focused on the right things that are going to meaningfully grow your business. So you might be asking yourself, what kind of things should you cover? What kind of issues should you talk about? Well, I'll start with this. Let me give you just a few ideas. So if you're doing this on your own, you might be able to take this recording and perhaps use it to help structure your thinking a little bit. The first thing I'd suggest that you do is you spend a little bit of time asking yourself and reminding yourself the things that you consider to be non-negotiable in your business. How do you want your business to run? How do you want people to behave who are going to work in and around and for you in your business? What are your standards? Are they crystal clear? Do people really get them? Is that the way that your business actually works? Or do you say one thing, but when push comes to shove, when the doors open and the customer's standing in front of you, do your people do something totally different? Or maybe just not exactly what you want? You have to get down very clearly. Here are the standards that I expect in my business. Then you have to understand, what are the feelings that I want my customer to have when they do business with me? And you have to get, again, crystal clear on, these are the things I want to project to my customer. This is what I've got to make them feel so that they'll come back and be repeat customers this year. And so they'll tell more people and I'll have more people come to me. That's called your value proposition. You have to understand what it is that you do with your customers that's uniquely different than what your competition does. So you need to ask some questions around there. Make sure that it's really clear. And make sure that the activities in your business are lined up so that you can deliver that feeling to your customer at every touch point you have along the way. And your people need to be trained in it. They need to understand what that is. And they need to be committed to helping you deliver that feeling to your customers. You have to ask yourself, how am I guaranteeing my customers that we will protect them from the things they worry about most in the industry that you live and work in? So think about what goes wrong most often in your industry. Think about the things that prospects or customers worry about when they do business in trade in your industry, and ask yourself, can I heighten my guarantee? Can I make it just a little bit better next year? Have I solidified my processes to the point where I can absolutely 100% guarantee that those negative things won't happen to them if they do business with you? You have to make your way around that and make sure that you're thinking about that. You have to look at your team and ask yourself, where are the skills that I really need to have on the team but I don't have today that I need to improve upon? So what are the ways that I can get my team members trained up, get them skilled up so that they can execute at a higher level next year than what they did this year? There may be some critical skills you need to add to the team. There may be some folks you have to get honest with and have a conversation with them about whether they're going to remain on the team or whether they're going to move on to another job assignment. But you have to look at the skills and the mix of performance on your team and make sure that it's good. You need to take some time to do a SWOT analysis in your industry. Look at your strengths and your weaknesses against your competition, and then look about your industry and where's it going? What are the trends? And in that movement of trends, what are the opportunities and threats that are going to come to you as a business by things that are changing, whether it's technology changing, whether it's markets that are changing? What are the dynamics happening in your industry that might require you this year to make some adjustments in your strategy, in your product offering, in your service offering? You need to be thinking about those. You have to spend some real serious think time in those areas. You have to look at ways that you're getting leverage in your business and what can you do to be just a little more efficient in your business this next year. There are several ways that you can introduce leverage into your business, and you have to look at those individually. So you have to look at the marketing things that you do. How can you get your marketing to be more repeat and more consistent so that you don't have to interact with it all the time? How do you use technology to improve your processes or improve the connections you have with your customers and your prospects this year? What are the processes that you need to get ironed out and perhaps documented, improved upon just a little bit so you can be a little more efficient in delivering your product or your service to your customer? Several ways for you to generate leverage in your business, and you have to think those through. And then you have to think about yourself. What skills do you need to improve upon? Who do you need to delegate more to? How can you improve your leadership capabilities? How can you become a better business owner this year? How can you prepare your next in line to take over for you? How can you move yourself a little bit out of the business so that you can prepare yourself for that day ultimately when you'd like to either sell the business, retire, or have someone else totally run it while you go off and invest in the next thing that's on your list to do? So you have to make a plan for yourself. What can you do? What are you specifically going to put on your development plan for next year to make you a better business owner, a better leader, and move yourself out of the day-to-day details of the bit this year? You see, there's a lot to think about. And this can't be done over a cup of coffee. This can't be done by carving out an hour in your schedule and trying to knock out a few bullet points. You need to sit back, take some time, get yourself around other people that are having the same kinds of discussions and talk this through. Get some other ideas and other opinions. If you don't have that time scheduled, I'm going to encourage you to do that. It's meaningful, it's powerful, and it'll set you in the right place so that this next year you can start the year with a bang. Your team will know exactly what their mission is. They'll know exactly what their targets are. They'll know exactly how you're going to measure success going into this next year. All that's critical for you to have the kind of business that you always dreamed you would have. So my hope for you this week is that you'll either get it on your schedule, or you'll make plans to join a group such as the one that we're doing on Wednesday, to do it with a collective group of other business owners. If you need some help with this, give me a shout. I'd be glad to share with you some resources. Be glad to help you along the way. I'll do anything I can to make your job a little easier and make your plan for this next year a little better. We're just looking for incremental improvement. Nothing that's totally game-changing. We just want to make it a little bit incrementally better every time we get together, every time you look at what's next on your plate. So I hope this has been beneficial to you. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to shout them at me. Send them my way, shoot me an email, pick up the phone, give me a call. My name is Rich Allen, your business coach. You can find me at rich@tourtoprofit.com. So just send me an email there, or check me out on my website, www.tourtoprofit.com. There are resources there for you to use. I look forward to seeing you. Have a great week. Good luck in your planning preparation for 2013. Let's make this a great year. Ride hard.